across the bat, boys.
Hey everybody, Sam. Sam is coming. I picked a terrible song for the intro to this, so sorry. Welcome to Guitar Hunter, episode 131. This is Guitar Hunter Live. I'm Jeremy, and today we get to hang out with my friend Sam. And so, tell me where you guys are coming from. I'm on the road. I'm in Nashville. I'm here doing fun stuff, and so anyway, and some unfun stuff that I won't tell you about, but. Yeah, I'm glad everybody's here. Sonia's here. Hello. Hi, guys. Have a great show. Thank you. Glad you're here. Woo! Happy Friday. Yeah, sorry. It's been 3 weeks, I think, since we did a Guitar Hunter Live. I've been traveling. I was in Nashville 2 weeks ago. I was at the beach last week, and then this week, or somehow it's like 3 weeks in a row, I've been in Nashville. So, Mr. Adam Wilkes is here. Hey, my guitar playing people. Hey, you Taylor guys, too. Just kidding. Hello from Cinnamon Sin. Hey, Jake. Hey, buddy. How's my microphone sound, by the way? I checked levels, but I'm using this thing, which is a little USB Viju, V-E-G-U-E. I don't know how to pronounce that. The G is also capitalized, which is confusing. Hey, everybody. What's everybody playing while they watch Guitar Hunter Live? I'll start. I've got my Larrivee OM40. That's awesome. I want an OM40. Waiting patiently from a wet and windy Paisley. Hello from Scotland. Sam Vecchio here. Raymond Alexander, Mr. Tube himself. Jay's coming in from Clermont, Florida. And there we go. So Adam is playing his Martin DX1AE, Blue Ridge BR1 MS, and an Epiphone EL00 Pro. Hey, Tom Dill. Hey, buddy. I'm glad you're here. Tom's the best. Tom has been a patron for so long. And just become a friend. So, Tom, glad you're here, man. Hello from Michigan. Looking forward to the show. Tom Hampton. Okay. Mike sounds great. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. So, today we're going to hang out with my friend, Sam. And this is just it's an open conversation that we're just going to talk about cool guitars. And we're going to talk about buying and selling guitars. And, yeah, Sam Copeland, if you don't know him, he's awesome. He has a really fun YouTube channel. I've not met anybody that has such a similar taste in, like, we love the same kinds of guitars. We have very similar interests. And yeah, so I'm very excited that Sam is here. And so we'll talk. Ooh, Tom, you're playing an Olson SJ? Jealous. That's what I want. That's still a dream guitar. All right. With no further ado, here comes Mr. Sam. I'm going to bring him in. Bada bing, bada boom. Sam.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, they're talking about my real world shirt. This is actually from TJ Maxx. This is the most poser thing I have.
Hey, well done.
Are you wearing an Orioles hat?
I am wearing an Orioles hat.
Good.
Because I've been to a Orioles game, so I'm also posing today.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny. Like, maybe you can, I don't know if this is interesting, but like growing up in Virginia, like, I know there are people who care about sports, but we don't have any pro teams.
We have the Nationals.
But they're in DC.
They're in DC. Right. So Virginia, no. No football, no baseball, no hockey, no soccer.
Yeah. Yeah. We got lots of college sports.
Lots of college. I grew up as a Virginia Tech Hokies fan.
Yeah.
Harrisonburg. And then,
do you remember that time that James Madison beat UVA or beat Virginia Tech?
Thanks for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
It was a day much like today, cold and wet, and I feel better today than I felt.
We were watching that game. I was like a senior in college. We're watching that game, and while we're sitting there, one of my roommates was like, "Yeah, my dad had boxes he had the President's box tickets, but I figured we wouldn't want to go." We're all like, "Why would you tell us that now?"
Oh, man.
But anyway, yeah, I don't really care that much about sports, but it does seem meaningful that James Madison is now 6-0.
I have a good friend who is a huge Dukes fan, and I have another friend who's a huge Dukes fan that I'm talking to right now. But he is so hyped. He's like, "We're going to the national championship. It's happening. Where the program is exploding, and they are really good. And I mean, even right now, it's a good time for them in Virginia to make the rise to D1.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand all the logistics of it. A friend of mine worked whatever, some big sports gig at JMU, and he's explained to me many times how important it is. Anyway, none of this is interesting to me. Talk about guitars.
Please.
Oh, Sam, give us your bio. Who are you? What's your deal? And yeah, then I'll ask you more questions about guitars.
Yeah, I am no one great. I'm a dude from Southwest Virginia, and I'm married. I have 2 girls, another on the way any day now.
Mm.
And I'm a musician, a songwriter. I play with a childhood friend in a band called Colonel and the Husk. We just put out our first album this summer and did some shows with that. Stopped and saw you guys in Harrisonburg, which was super fun.
Dude, and your music is so good. Yeah, because it was funny. I had this full circle moment. Maybe, yeah, 3 points in this story. When you and I did a video about Americans reacting to European guitars, and you had your Atkin and I had a Ferg, you played a song that then is on the record, and I heard you play it live a little bit ago, and then yesterday in the post, I found it on Instagram, like to tag in your post.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
The raw unplugged living room session to studio album.
Yeah. And then how do we know each other?
We know each other. Well, I think I got introduced to you during early pandemic times, starting to look for like, hey, who knows how to do this stuff, finding cool guitars. And I found a YouTube channel. And then I think I just made a passing comment to my aunt, Becky, who lives in Harrisonburg.
Yeah.
Guy Jeremy has this cool YouTube channel. She's like, I know Jeremy. I used to work with Jeremy. So then she connected us, and I think we grabbed a coffee and have gotten to know each other over the past couple of years, which has been cool.
Yeah, that's what I remember too, was when I was still working at a commercial truck dealer group. And yeah, and Rebecca, your Aunt Becky, was like, hey, I have a bunch of guitars I need help selling. And then after I sold them, she was like, hey, my nephew's actually really into this stuff, and you should get to know him. So you and I got coffee. I think it was like 2020, 2021. Yeah. But yeah, so cool, man. Well, it's been really fun getting to know you. And it, like I said in the intro, like you and I have such similar perspectives and taste on guitars that I'm into it.
Yeah,
man. Cool.
Well, thanks for saying that.
So I asked some questions. I have some questions queued up. So as they come in, I'll deal with them. But first, I'm just gonna lob a couple at you real quick. Hey, how do you buy your first expensive guitar? And what was I have 2 questions that are the same thing. What was your first expensive guitar? Let's do that one first.
Yeah. What would you, as Guitar Hunter, where would you draw the line at expensive guitar? Okay, above $1,000. Sorry, I didn't say
I think $1,000. I tricked you. I had 2 questions queued up.
Okay. My first, let's see. I had the same guitar growing up, which my uncle helped buy for me. It was a imported Guild.
Oh, I've seen that guitar.
I love this guitar.
Yeah.
And played that for a lot of years. And then when my brother graduated college, my parents wanted to buy him a nice guitar. And so I became his guitar hunter and like went and found what I thought he would like and picked it out and got him a Martin 00015.
That's a good one.
Like right after they reimagined everything, I guess it was 2013 or 2014.
Yeah.
So that was
that's the 00015M.
00015M, yeah, solid mahogany, the standard kind of 000 14 fret.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience kind of shopping. And then a couple years later, when I graduated college, I asked for a little money and had saved up a little money and wanted to get a nice guitar.
There you go.
And I had played, this is good timing. I had not planned this. I played a friend's Taylor 714 in college, and like the skies opened and a dove descended, and everything was beautiful in the world. And so I was on a mission to find one.
Yeah.
But I did not like the expression system, and I did not need a cutaway, and I wanted like the triple O auditorium OM shape. I wanted to see the whole thing. And that proved to be a hard thing to find with no pickup installed ever.
Yeah.
Or like an Anthem or a K&K already in it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And no cutaway. But I found a guy who had toured, I think, with Miranda Lambert or something like that.
Yeah.
Like had it sitting on reverb, and I bought it off of him. So that was my first.
That is it. It never ceases to amaze me how you and I have such parallels. Like I had a 714 without a pickup, and it was my favorite Taylor. And the same thing, like I played it, it was like, this is magical. And it was when I worked at a guitar shop in college, and I had to do all, the standard, like working at a guitar shop, like I'll give you $100 out of every paycheck. And it took me a long time to pay off.
It's a great guitar. I had that guitar until 2020.
Yeah. So yours was a cedar top?
It was not. It was the kind of tobacco sunburst.
Oh, interesting.
With the spruce top.
Okay. Yeah. Mine, I actually own the same one 3 times, which is ridiculous. I bought it, sold it. The guy sold it back to me. And then I sold it to a friend who was on Young Life staff. And then he needed to sell it back. And then I sold it to a friend who had a high school kid who was like a great player. So I've owned that guitar 3 times. So it's now in Laplace, Louisiana. And but yeah, man. Cool. Yeah. So okay. So how do you know when it's the right time to buy? How do you buy your first expensive guitar?
Yeah. I think a big thing for me early on, and I'm sure this was in my parents' mind as well, I started playing when I was like 8, and I played whatever guitar was. Yeah. Like whatever guitar was lying around the house is what I played. And then I think when I was 12 or 13, my uncle helped me buy that Guild Dreadnought. And I mean, I played, like, guitar became a big part of like what I do with my free time, what I do when I hang out with people. If there was an opportunity to play somewhere, I was playing somewhere. And so there was definitely like a tipping point as a teenager where I was like, I'm into this. Like, if I'm going to put some money into a hobby, this would be what I want to spend some money on. But I never thought, like, as like a 15, 16-year-old working at fast food joints, I didn't think I could put away $2,000 or $3,000 and buy a nice guitar.
Yeah.
But I had that in my mind, I think, just from a pure, I'm spending a ton of time doing this, I enjoy it. And then as I got out of college and was playing more, most of my gigging opportunities are church related or like something like that. And playing plugged in with the Guild, it just started to like not sound great.
Yeah.
And there was a guy on our worship team at church who had a cedar topped 514.
Yes.
And it always sounded amazing. And so like I was just talking to him, and he was like way into, like, he had a K&K in it, and he had like a decent preamp, and like he like was paying attention to the audio quality. And so then I started to be like, this would make a difference, if not to people who are hearing me, to me and my enjoyment of it. So that was like a big thing, like time invested into the hobby, the output for it. And like starting to appreciate a little bit more about the quality of what was happening.
No, I think that's
a job with a salary and could put away enough money to make it happen and still pay the bills and do what we needed to do.
Yeah, I noticed for me, I think how I would answer this question, and this is, I hope it doesn't come off as hypocritical. Like, how I would answer this question, I would say, do a sinking fund. That's how my family pays for a lot of things, where it's like every month I put $250. It just automatically comes out when I get paid or at a certain day of the month. And then that just is constantly getting kicked over into another account. And so I basically say, like, well, what do I want to own? I want to own this thing. All right, divide that by 24. In 2 years, I get to buy that thing.
Yeah.
I've done that with other stuff. We do that with cars and all kinds of stuff in our life. But I've also had so much, like at this point, I just have so much momentum on guitars coming and going. But I think if you're gonna buy your first expensive guitar, I think the main things are you need to know what you're buying.
Yeah.
You need to really know what makes it great, what could go wrong with it. Do I have someone that can fix things if they go wrong?
Yeah.
Because like the more expensive guitars you get, the more maintenance they're gonna need.
And you're gonna want to put it in. It's not like all right, well, it broke, whatever.
It always gets me when people like I get lots of people sending me messages like, "Can you believe I spent $4,000 on a Martin and it needs a setup 6 months into owning it?"
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what guitars don't need setups? Like Ibanez, like a cheapy $150 Ibanez, because it's all plywood and plastic.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. That's a great point. My wife would tell you that was a big part of me buying my first expensive guitar was reading a bunch and like learning about the market and like what was a good buy. Like that's why I bought my brother the 0015.
Yeah.
It's like I think I read online somewhere like go into Guitar Center, grab one off the wall, ask them if they'll cut 15% off the price. You can probably get this guitar for around $1,000. And I was like,
Wow.
there's not at that point, like I didn't know what Eastman was.
Yeah.
Even still, I'm like, for $1,000, like a 0015M is hard to beat.
Monstrously good. Yeah. I think those are such, and I think lots of people have gotten wise to those. Like lots of people know that those are now great. That was the first
the 12 fretter.
Yeah. So okay. So one of the questions I had, I don't think I have it written out here, but like one of the guitars, I had a stretch where I almost gave up on guitar. Right out of college, I moved to Louisiana. I was working full time. I was a business development manager for a series of medical clinics, and so I was just super busy. And I also just moved to a new town. No one played guitar. No one played music. So I just wasn't in a musical circle. And I eventually was like, I sold, or I got down. I didn't have an acoustic guitar for almost a year. And it was insane. And then we had some savings and my work had slowed down. I'd figured it out. And I found a Martin 0015M on Craigslist. This is like 2013. And that's 10 years ago. That's insane. But yeah, I found it and I could get it for $800. And I was like, this is a cool guitar. So I got it. It was the first K&K I'd ever put in a guitar myself. I put it in on my kitchen island.
Nice.
With my oldest kid was like, my oldest daughter. Yeah, she was there like standing on a stool just messing with the guitar while I was doing it. And that was like the moment where it's like, oh, I could do this. Like I could buy and sell guitars. And that's how I got into it. I never really thought, like I had always liked guitars, but that was the moment that I was like, there are cool things out there. I can fix them and I can get them going and I can find somebody who'd be really into it. That was the big switch for me.
Yeah. You're reminding me that until like a month ago, my guitar bench has been our dining room table and a red bath towel.
There you go.
And then I think when you did your like Sweetwater, like you can get this stuff and it'll make your life easier. I was like, you know what? A guitar mat is like $30. Like, what am I doing?
Dude, that's like, I just bought all the stuff. I'm going to do a video when I get back to Virginia next week about like comparing stuff, Harbor Freight versus StewMac. And I already know you can buy the right thing or you can buy the cheap thing. Rarely are those the same thing.
Yeah.
And like the guitar mat and the headrest, I was like, there's no
substitute. Just
and good snips. When you get a good set of wire cutters, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is awful. I used like toenail clippers.
I was about to say
years.
Once you put a good nick in every set of toenail clippers that you own, you're like, you know what? I could spend $12 on a pair of real string cutters.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. So you and I share a thing of like, we both love like guitar shops and the art of the deal. When you walk into a guitar shop, what's the first thing you notice? Or what are you looking for?
Used guitars, baby. Every time.
Seriously.
That's the exciting. I mean, it's cool when they've got like, I mean, often I look up. It's cool if they've got like custom shop stuff hanging.
Yeah.
But always used. Like, you never know who like was driving through town, or like who in your town has a cool guitar under their bed and they brought it to your shop. There's always something interesting hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
And what's fun with the used guitars is I often like then I get into a conversation with the people working at the shop. They're like, "Oh, like I talked to this guy about this guitar." You get like the cool story associated with it as well.
Yeah. Dude, that's where I completely have the same opinion. Like I look for it scares me off if I go into a shop and they're only new. I'm like, what is this? Music and arts? Like, what's the point of it? Like, of course, that's where it just kills me.
Yeah.
I remember walking into Lafayette Music in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I was like, "Do you have any used guitars?" They're like, we have a couple." And I walk into this tiny little back corner, and they had a Taylor 7. What's the big one? 718? Yeah, like
Yeah.
the big body size.
Yeah.
They had a 718, and it was cedar top, big abalone rosette, big abalone inlays. They were asking $1,100, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll take that." And I bought it. I like committed to buy it in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And the young sales guy, he gave away too much. Like as I walked up, I was like, "This thing's so cool." He's like, "Hey, do you want me to take tax off of it too?" And so he dropped the price because Louisiana has high sales tax. So it was like 9.5% that he took off. So I remember it was like it brought it towards like 1,100 after tax.
Yeah.
And I had that guitar for like 3 days, sold it for $2,000, and like
I didn't do that well, but I went into our local shop here a couple of years ago, and for like a very brief period of time, Martin did OM 18s with either the like Fishman pickup installed stock or the Anthem, and they had one, the OM 18 with an Anthem in it. I think it was like $2,150 or $2,200, something like that.
crazy.
On consignment, which is already a great deal. And then it was on consignment. And I was like on the fence about it. I was personally interested in that guitar and hanging on to it, not just reselling it and moving it along. And so I was like, I'm just going to throw out a number and like call the guy. And like, if he really wants to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I think I got it for less than $2,000 after tax. After that guy accepted my offer. So you just never know. Like,
yeah.
Even if it's just barely getting something less than what you might pay elsewhere, your local shop sometimes has.
I love local shops. That's where I'm like, and I obviously I'm biased since I spend a couple days a week working at Hometown Music in Harrisonburg. But I feel like I've helped them navigate. A year ago, they did no used stuff. And that was the first, I was like, I'm not going to make huge institutional changes coming into, And if you don't know, I don't know who doesn't know at this point, like a friend of mine from high school has a record studio, a record pressing plant. He's doing a bunch of cool music stuff. He had an opportunity to buy our hometown, no pun intended, but to buy our hometown music shop called Hometown. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, can you come in? I just need help like getting this guitar shop rolling." And so I jumped in with him, and it was kind of my like, all right, I get to do this the way I would do it. I get to kind of do a victory lap, it feels like, from when I worked in a guitar shop in college, and I had no sway. I was just like, $8 an hour help. And now I get to like steer it into a direction like, well, here's how it survives the world of like Reverb, eBay, Sweetwater, Guitar Center, like what they can't do well, we have to focus on. And they can't do small town community, buy, sell, trade. So that's where we're putting all of our energy into cool stuff, local, capture the story. Yeah.
Did you watch Josh Scott did a live show a couple of months ago where he talked about like he like did a bunch of research on, are you buying online or from your local shop, and then like talked about it?
No, I need to. I don't know how I missed that.
You need to go watch it. It's fascinating.
I've talked to Josh a couple times, and I feel like we're cut from the same cloth on that kind of stuff, because I'm not philosophically opposed to Sweetwater. Okay, here's a question I had, like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, or local shop. And
if you reverse that order,
yeah. Yeah, I have never spent a single dollar at Guitar Center. I've tried 2 different times. They let me buy something, and then afterwards they tell me, because I only buy used stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
One of the things that got away, I was in Montgomery, Alabama. It's like 2016 or 17. I found a Mesa single rectifier 212 combo. It was red Tolex with basket weave grill cloth. It was so cool. They were asking $1,200, and I was like, "Hey, would you take $1,000?" And they said yes. And they let me take it up to the front, and they signed it out, and they swiped my debit card, and they took my money. And then they're like, "All right, you can pick it up in 41 days." It's like, what? And they made this whole thing like, "Oh, sorry, we have a policy that we have to hold things to make sure they're not stolen. There's a 45-day wait period. This thing just came in." And that's where I was like, why? Why is this out? Why did you let me buy this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Guitar Center is like, it's like Best Buy. No one is like, I love Best Buy. It's the best place to buy stuff. But they just have enough energy and sway to get you, like, they'll give you ridiculous deals on Black Friday, or like.
That's it. I bought my brother's guitar there around the holidays because I knew I could go in and make an offer, and they would swipe a coupon and I could get what I was looking for.
Yeah. What's your take on Sweetwater?
I haven't bought much from Sweetwater. I bought like some strings, and maybe some like cables and stuff like that from them. I think the customer service is like on another planet.
Seriously.
And I don't feel super annoyed. Like, getting a phone call from them, it's usually a real person, and he's like, "Hey man, like just checking in, any questions?" Or like, that's helpful to me. And if I'm somebody who's trying to get like oriented to guitar gear and what's going on, that's super useful. Especially if you don't have like a good local shop nearby that has, like, maybe you have a small one, it just doesn't have what you're into. To have like a real live human being who's also a musician, like to call,
and who has access to all of the stuff,
everything. Yeah,
that's it feels like a small town, because you get the relationship, you get the knowledge, but they also, what I appreciate about good small shops, will say, "Hey, here's how you should do it. We don't sell that thing. Like, we don't sell Behringer, but they make a great mic preamp that'll do everything you need to do." But that's one thing I love about Sweetwater, is that they're able to actually do that.
Yeah.
Sweetwater was incredibly gracious to me. And I know it was a marketing thing for them. Like in 2020, they reached out to me and said they really liked my channel. And they said, "Hey, we're here." I hear it was like their artist relations guy or their affiliate marketer. And he's like, "Hey, I hear you're building out a studio. What do you need?" I was like, "I need a microphone. I need a boom stand." He's like, no. You need sound treatment. You need an interface." And so it was like probably close to $5,000. I claimed it on taxes. So it was a substantial amount.
It was that amount.
But they were amazing to like, and they had me call the sound treatment guy. We did a drawing of my studio, and we figured out how to set it up. And it like helped me feel professional in what I'm doing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And they have access to cool stuff. And I mean, there are some of the tricks that you can play them. Like they are like a small shop, and they're also like the big retailers. Like, one of my favorite tricks, and I've told people this, like, if you want something cool and you want a deal on it, put it in your shopping cart and then just leave it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to call you.
Yeah.
"Hi, this is Brian from Sweetwater. Hey, man, I was just looking. We have a demo model, and I can give you 20% off." Aha! Yeah. Yeah, I think they're doing it right. I know. Yeah. Sweet. What else? Oh, hey, here's a good question. You're buying and selling guitars a lot. How often do you find fake guitars, and how do you tell?
to my knowledge, I've never bought a fake guitar.
That's important.
I definitely see them.
Did you see that fake D45 that was on? It's in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia.
I think I saw you post a screenshot about it. I don't think I ever saw that listing. I'm surprised I didn't, but
yeah, because I just said similar to you. We're in kind of the same part of Virginia. I just set up like a radius. It's like, give me notifications if these words come up.
Right.
And that one, yeah. So the main fakes that I feel like you see all the time, there's two. It is fake Les Pauls and fake D45s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see fake D28s.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that. It does seem like the ones that are more like ornate or I don't quite understand that. To me, it seems obvious, not because I'm like an expert on like what the fake things are, but like because I've looked at pictures of the real thing enough and like videos of the real thing enough that like that doesn't look quite right. And then it's often just like trying to find like independent verification, like, oh, that looks a little bit different. Can I find some other examples of this on Google Images or Reverb, like sold listings? Sometimes that's how you spot a fake is you go to Reverb sold listings and wow, those are the same photos that just sold on another guitar.
Yeah.
And it's just a fake listing. It's not even a fake guitar.
That's what I found. Somebody was lifting, and my studio is so specific. You can't really use my photos because it just so looks like my place. But there are other ones that I've found that if I would do, you've been in my house. I have like a Sinker Cypress guitar hanger in my dining room. That like it's a cool looking picture, but basically it's a white wall with cypress and then a guitar hanger. So someone was sending me that it was a guy in Florida was trying to sell, like it was a J45 standard that I had, and it was a couple guitars that I'd had that were just fake listings, but they were using my photos, which is crazy.
Yeah.
For me, we've had, oh man, here's a good story. Maybe 3 weeks ago, I'm at Hometown Music. A guy comes in and he's like, I got a guitar you never seen before, man. And I was like, all right, show me. And he's like, you like Randy Rhoads? And I was like, this is just like his. This is a Les Paul Supreme. I was like, well, he played a custom, not a Supreme. And he's like, okay. So he pulled out this a very cool looking white Les Paul Supreme that had the globe on the headstock, which that's the biggest giveaway to me. I don't know why that's the ones that get faked. And they don't make that many Supremes. So anyway, but he pulled it out and he's like, I paid $5,200 for this guitar. Like I've got to have at least $5,800. It's like, okay. And it came out of a glary gig bag. And I was like, okay, well, let me look at this thing. And I looked at it and everything about it. So the big thing that I look for first, which used to be pretty telltale, is now they're starting to not do this. It had like the big flat screw in the bridge in the Tonematic. Like that's always like, that's Epiphone stuff. Then the next thing I look for is the quality of the three-way toggle on the Les Paul in particular. If it's the like really clicky, cheap box switch. Then the next thing I look for is the truss rod cover 2 screws or 3 screws. It's almost always a 3 screw, and that's an Epiphone thing. The logos are always weird. The eye is too high in the logo. And then the biggest telltale for me is when the serial number it's like, if it looks like it's laser engraved or it's like perfectly crispy, very sharp. This one had every one of my like ding, ding, ding. This is a fake guitar. And so I told the guy, he said, I have to have $5,800. I was like, hey man, I hate to tell you this. I think this guitar is a fake. And he's like, all right, well, I'll take $500 for it. It's like, well, okay, well, that's $5,300 off. It's a pretty good deal. And that's where I was like, man, well, it's actually illegal for shops to own used guitars. And that's what I didn't know until recently, is that it actually is illegal. Like, so you can buy them private party, but you like a company, like a business, can't sell. which that also technically means parts casters that have Fender decals.
Really?
Those are technically replicas.
You
So
distribute, yeah.
we've had 2 that we had to take the decals off
Yeah.
of.
Have you ever seen on a Fender decal the serial number where like the first 2 digits or 3 digits are out of alignment with the rest of the digits? Do you know if that's like a printing thing with
I don't
Fender?
know that stuff as well.
Okay. I saw one of those the other day. It even almost looked like different font. And I was like,
Yeah,
that doesn't seem quite right. So like, it's often stuff like that where it's just like, that doesn't look quite right. And then you just look into it a little bit to see if you can find evidence of it or not.
Yeah. I feel like fake Les Pauls, like the big one is like somebody sands down the headstock and just puts
right.
Like, because it was so pervasive, the like decaljoe.com was where I bought every decal. Because I made probably 40 or 50 parts casters in the 2000s. Like I would get friends like, spec it up, what do you want? And then I'd make it. But those, I was never trying to fake it. I don't think most people that are making parts casters, I think they just want a cool guitar, like a cool Stratotelly that says Fender.
Yeah.
Not Squire.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you start monkeying with serial numbers and stuff, a guy I used to work with, he was just a straight good old boy from the mountains of Virginia. And we're talking, and I was like, hey man, like if you ever find a shotgun, I'd love to, go shoot skeet, clay pigeons, if you ever find one, let me know. And he called me at 11 o'clock that night. He's like, hey man, scale of 1 to 10. How important are serial numbers to you? 10 out of 10.
Very.
I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm just hanging out with people. Don't ask me about my mountain ways.
That's probably important for people to know who aren't from this part of the country. Like, we are south of the Mason-Dixon, but we're in the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a different place than just like the South. Like Charlotte, North Carolina is not Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Seriously. That's what, man, I was talking to Rhett Shull has such a good take on that. Like I was talking to him years ago and he's like, I'm from the urban South. He's like, I'm from Atlanta. I've never been camping. He's like, I'm not interested in guns. He's like, I am from the city.
Yeah.
And that's where I started changing. That was when I was living in Louisiana. And I would say like, oh, I'm from the, like the mountain South, or like, we're not quite from Appalachia ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You maybe Roanoke is a little more than Harrisonburg.
It feels that way. And growing up in Blacksburg felt that way as well. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it depends on what kind of community you belong to in some of those places, but
yeah. Like my grandparents, like I grew up every weekend we were in West Virginia with my grandparents, and they were like in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm like, I grew up, like I understand all the Appalachian stuff. Yeah, man. Okay, so we're talking about fakes, talked about Sweetwater. Hey, what's the worst advice you could give someone that's selling their first guitar? Sorry, I'm just
just do no research. Just snap a picture of it without doing anything to it. List as few details as possible and just hope someone buys it on Craigslist.
Don't wear shoes while taking a picture of it.
Yes, yeah. Make sure you get some toesies in there. And I mean that, or potentially like go trade it in for something else. Like you're just gonna lose a ton of money. Like, yeah. Not to undercut shops that are helping people do that, but like if you're just trying to get out of it, like you're done. I've got this guitar. I don't know what to do with it. Like take it to your shop and like rely on their knowledge, and like it might be worth it. But if you're trying to buy your second guitar with the money you make from your first guitar, figure out what it's worth, clean it up, put new strings on it, get a nice well-lit photo, take pictures of all the angles, put some basic information there that like you would want to know when you're looking for your second guitar.
Yeah.
Make it easy for the buyer to be like, all right, yeah, I think they anticipated most of my questions. And then I love your like listing advice of like, and then just put a clear call to action at the end, like send me a message, or like let's make a deal, or I'm available to meet you this weekend. Send me a message.
Yeah, man. That's what, like, to me, I'm like, good pictures, compelling description, and think about anything that would hold them up and say it out loud and walk them around it.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be hard. I think that's the thing is like most people, if your guitar is not selling after a while, like it's not that people aren't looking for cool guitars. That's what like lots of people are like, people just don't buy guitars like that in my community. Like, no, like I'm sure with the hundreds of millions of dollars in marketing from Gibson, Fender, Sweetwater, I'm sure there are expensive guitars wherever you are in the US.
Yeah.
But the opposition is probably like you're probably too difficult to deal with, or just that listing is, yeah. One of my favorite things is whenever I feel sad, this sounds bad, but one of my favorite things is to look up people selling mirrors on Craigslist. It's just like it'd be like a picture of a hand like in a mirror.
Yeah.
Or it's just,
is it possible to take a photo of a mirror without getting some of you in it?
If you're a witch.
Yeah.
Floating phone. Dude, years ago, a guy was trying to sell me a D41. And he lived in Louisiana. He was a friend. But he was also like a retired biker. And so he, like Harley biker. And he sent me a picture. And it is, I've saved it. I've never posted it because I don't want to embarrass him. But it was hilarious. It's like literally just like him in booty shorts, hunched over. You can just see it all in the reflection of the back of this guitar. He's like, no one's been buying this guitar. I don't know why. I'm like,
yeah.
I have one note.
I have a friend who will just text me randomly, like screenshots of Craigslist listings that are like super grainy and like weird angles, or like half the people's toes in them, or like their clothes are piled up around the guitar, and then like yeah. Sam gets real excited when he sees this on Craigslist. Yes, I do, because it's like, all right, hey, you might need some help selling this guitar. Can I help you?
Oh man, I didn't write this question out, but do you ever find something that is so egregiously wrong that you send him a message to just like Josh Scott does this, and he'll post screenshots of like, hey, this is actually a reissue. This is not an original. Have you ever done that? And how did it go?
I don't think so. I usually just ignore it.
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest.
Well, so that D45, the fake one, this is insane. I was like, hey, and I asked for clarifying questions. I was like, hey, can you show me a picture, like a close-up picture of the serial number? And he did, and the serial number, like the font was wrong. It was like a piece of wood attached to the end block, so it wasn't a dovetail joint. So I knew, and I couldn't stop myself from taking the bait and just like asking more questions. And then I very gently told him, I was like, hey, I believe this guitar is a replica, and I chose replica instead of fake.
Wise.
And he was like, I was thinking that too. And I was like, okay, well, what's the story? How much are you in it? He's like, well, I bought it from a guy, and he paid $5,500 for it. And then I was like, oh man. But then he told me later, so it disappeared. And then it showed up like 6 weeks later with the same pictures, and he was selling it again as a D45, no acknowledgement of it being a fake. And that's when I messaged him. I was like, hey, you and I both know this is a fake. You should take this down. It's illegal to sell fake guitars. And he like just straight up owned it. He's like, people can decide what they want to buy, and they can decide if it's real to them. I'm like, there is objective reality here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 quick would you rathers. Would you rather never change your strings again, or only play nylon string guitars for the rest of your life?
I'll
My
never,
wife came up with this.
never change my strings again.
Me too.
Just play those rusty bad boys.
Get that sweet Nick Drake tone.
Yeah.
I did wonder, like, does this mean if you break strings, that's just
right? You're down to five to go.
strings? Yeah. Oh, there's a theme here. Would you rather have a locking trim electric guitar or only play nylon string guitars?
Nylon.
Yeah, there's a theme here. Nylon string?
Yeah.
Have you ever owned a locking trim?
No.
They're pretty intense. I'm about to buy one.
I'm like, my first guitar was an electric guitar. I didn't say this, but I had like a knockoff Strat, red. I still kind of want.
Was it an Austin?
It was an Austin.
Oh my gosh, we are the same person. We've lived the same life.
I exploded that Austin amp.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what am I saying here? I've only become an electric guitar player since like 2020. I like exclusively played guitar.
Because you got some cool stuff. You got that Deluxe?
I've got a parts caster.
Okay.
It's a classic vibe body, thin line body, and a Fender standard neck.
So yeah, so it's like a 69 thin line, right?
Yep.
It's both single coils, but semi-hollow.
I love it. Got it
That's
in a
great.
from a guy, and I probably have $600 in it, something like that.
So good.
It crushes.
That's what parts casters are there for. Like, they're like kit cars. Just make something cool that works for you. I love that. So here's a question that came in from Instagram earlier, and then we'll jump in 2 minutes. Everybody that's watching, we'll jump in. I'll come back over to the chat and we'll do Q&A for the last 10 minutes. So we got 2 questions now. So number 1, how do you balance the amount of work a guitar would need versus getting a good deal to purchase?
So I put I was going to say this earlier with have you corrected somebody who put out a fake? I've done the opposite, where somebody's posted something valuable and is obviously not posting it for what it's worth. And have messaged them and said, hey, like, I think this is probably worth more, something like this. In a private party sale, it's like a car. It's going to be hard to get what a shop could get. But if you wanted like to work out a deal, here's what I could give you right now. And what I think I could sell it for. It's like to try to bring clarity to those types of situations. And sometimes those have repair requirements where I'll say, like, this is what I would expect to get for this guitar, but it needs a crack repaired. It needs a neck reset.
Yeah.
Here's what those items, like billing cost, would be. I'm taking those off of what I would be willing to purchase it for, so that I can still get back to what I need to sell it for.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is a little bit of like a math equation to like figure out in your mind, this is what this guitar is worth in excellent condition. This is what this guitar is worth with repairs. And then whatever I'm buying it for, I'm then going to deduct the repairs off of that amount.
Yeah.
You're doing it on both ends. It's worth less because it's been repaired, and you should pay less because you're gonna have to spend more to get it into a repaired state.
I always put, like, for me, the metrics I'm running through are the opportunity for them to have money in their hand now, versus the risk that I'm taking on. And it's a risk. Like, not all neck resets work. Sometimes, like the Laprenzi, and Howard, you're in here. I bought a Laprenzi locally for $700, $650. And then it's the most I've ever spent on repairs proportionally for a guitar. I spent another $700 on a neck reset, and it almost didn't work. Like the way Laprenzi makes their necks. Like
I took a shot at a Banner LG2.
That's right.
And man, it was in rough shape. Like the action was really high. Still there?
I'm still here.
And it needed some work. It needed more work than I thought it did. The neck had actually started to warp. So it wasn't just high, it was also twisted. And when I went to sell it, the guy who bought it from me was a collector of old Gibson. Thankfully, it worked out out. Like I
Yeah.
had a guitar that he was missing from his collection. He was willing to take a chance at it. He had a really good luthier.
Yeah.
And he had preferred like, hey, actually don't get a neck reset done. Like I'll buy it as is, and my luthier will take care of it. But that's a risk you're taking, where you see some repair things and you factor those into what you buy it for. But there might be stuff that, like, when your luthier actually has his hands on it, he's the expert. Like I don't know how to do any of these repairs.
Me too.
I'm still learning in some ways. Where he's going to be like, sorry, man, like it needs more than what you thought it did. And then that's on you. You bought it. It's now your problem to fix.
And then you start running through like, okay, I did get it for $700. I had to put another 700 in it. And then the market doesn't, like with that one, Howard wanted something cool and American made. And that was like, it just was that whole Venn diagram.
Yeah.
So that one worked out. But there are definitely some that you're like, yeah, here's a crazy story that I'll tell really quickly. I had a shop in Covington, Louisiana for a little bit called Bayou Music Exchange. In that shop, I had a guy, I didn't have many like walk-ins, but somebody found me on Google. They were doing an estate sale. They were cleaning out an old house and they found an old guitar, and it was a Martin 0016C. Yeah, it's like one of the first YouTube videos I ever made, but it came into the shop and it was literally split from like the big part of the lower bout or upper bout all the way around to the end pin. Like it looked like it had just been dropped on the end pin and cracked all the way around.
Yeah.
And a guy came in and he was like, how much is this worth? And I was like, I don't know. Sorted, it's probably $1,500. He's like, well, how much would you pay me? I was like, it's too far gone. That's too scary for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not going to offer me anything? I was like, I'm sorry, man. Like, this is just, it's too crazy. And I had a friend who's a great guitar repair. It's Tim at Tim's Guitars in Baton Rouge. And the guy in the shop was like, I told him I had to pass. And he was like, you're not going to, like, you wouldn't give me $100 for this guitar. And I was like, I'll give you $100. Like, I was thinking like, I'll offer him $7. Yeah. And I'll put $500 into it and make $300. And then instead I got it for $100, but it ended up being an $800 repair. Yeah. And it was an insane amount of work for Tim. So basically he was able to like splice a piece of mahogany all the way around.
Wow.
And then finish the sides and relic them so that they looked like early 60s. I had that for like 2 years and then I sold that guitar. But yeah, so, okay. Last question. They'll do Q&A. What do you keep and what do you sell? Just an easy question to finish this out, you know?
Everything is for sale.
I'm glad you said that.
The price is right. Everything is for sale, in all honesty. I brought one guitar that I probably won't ever sell, which would be here, I'll show you. You've seen this guitar. But my 50.
That's my favorite guitar.
Big Guard J45. I won't ever sell, with the 2 not matching buttons.
I love that. Why is it always the G?
For a minute,
that thing on something.
I won't ever sell that guitar. It's really special to me. The story of finding it and when I found it, and
that's a 54,
56. Yeah, right after they switched to the Big Guard, but that's still with the non-adjustable saddle.
Okay. And that one has a K&K and sounds magical.
I've got a K&K in it, and I run it into. I was using the Venue DI from LR Bags for a little while, and I switched back to the. I was using the voice print,
right?
And I switched back to the Venue DI.
Sweet. That's good. I'm glad you said that. Like, I mean, I now have gotten to where there are very specific guitars that I've either built, like I built my Showalter OM, and I would never sell that. But the list of guitars that I like, that I would really, I mean, in the end, everything is for sale. When I leave this life, everything will, you know. But there are guitars that I would really fight, and I would like pick up extra hours doing anything else before I would.
If somebody offered me $13,000 right now, and I could go buy a Banner J45, I might say no, like, because
Okay, yeah.
this guitar matters to me.
Yeah. That's
and
so good.
Yeah, I went through a thing where it was like, maybe I'll sell it and I'll keep the Atkin, but it's still here.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm gonna come over here for a Q&A. So if you have questions, throw them in over here. If you really want to question the super chat, that always feels like a shameless plug, but it helps support the channel and the live shows, and they're much easier to see. But no pressure. Let's see. There's a lot of comments, just people talking to each other. Badura says, "Hey Jeremy, I bought an Orangewood 15 minutes ago, and they asked me where I heard about them, and I mentioned you. Thank you. That means a lot. Those guys, I like Orangewood guitars. Have you played any Orangewoods?
I haven't, but a buddy of mine just bought one as his first guitar, so
they're great for like first guitars and intermediate guitars. It is interesting, like although they are made by Cort, so is D'Angelico, so is PRS SE Acoustics. It does seem like they're made in the same factory, so there is some similarity, but there does get to be some specialization. So Orangewood does a really good setup. That's what I think I've had like probably 5 or 6 of them at this point. Let's see. Tom says the first 3 digits on Fender being different is an actual Fender thing.
Thank you, Tom.
That's good. That's good to know. Andy says fake Les Pauls are the worst, and the quality of the fakes is scary now. I've seen a couple. So there's a video that I did with Casino Guitars, and while I was there, somebody brought in like it's a proper replica with original PAFs, original tuners, original hardware, but like the whole body is made up. But it's, as nerdy as I am on guitar stuff, I would not know that was not a real burst, like a real 59. John Ramsey says, what do you think of Guild guitars?
Way in on Guild guitars, especially I took a deep dive on Ren Ferguson a couple of years ago, and like hearing his story with Guild and some of the stuff that he brought to the table with their team, I think like right now, buy a Guild guitar.
Yeah,
they're killer.
Dude, I just had the new D40 with the satin finish, and it was, it is as good as the like Iris DF. Like it's a boutique feeling guitar. Dude. Really, really good.
I played a couple Kelly's music right here.
Yeah.
In my area of Roanoke, that you visited with me once. They have Guild stuff in a good bit, and I've gotten to play a couple of them. They rock. They're
really, really good. Let me see what other Daniel says. Very cool. J45.
Thanks.
This repair sounds familiar. Can't wait for you to get my 26L3 spliced wood and all. That's right. While I'm here in Nashville, I'm trying to coordinate getting together with Nathan. Did you ever play My Right Lutherie? That one went on to Billy, to a friend. But I have some exciting news about Right Lutherie. I don't know. Well, I don't know if we're ready to tell the world, but we're going to do like a Guitar Hunter model. So I get to design my own guitar.
Cool.
Which I've never done. And then we'll get to sell some of them. So I'm going to try to make something really cool. I did. So here's a question about, does anyone know anything about Bill Collings' guitar that he built for George Gruen in the late 80s?
I went back and listened to the Fretboard Journal podcast episode with Bill Collings, and it was good. I did not hear anything about this situation.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this. I had a call yesterday with Collings Guitars because we're going to do some fun stuff and go to Austin and film some videos with them. And yeah, my favorite guitar, a guitar that I still hope to get back, is the Waterloo WLS. I love that one. So
dude, did you know that the Happy Birthday song on our record, I recorded on a WLS Deluxe?
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah,
I had it for a hot minute when we were in the recording phase, and so I used it on a couple of things.
That's awesome, man. So apparently what they told me yesterday was that was Bill's favorite guitar model they ever made of anything. All Collings, all Waterloo. That was it. It's
so cool. I've got a 1920 Stella now that looks very similar. Yeah, it's just such a cool guitar.
Let's see. What are your feelings on arch tops?
You saw the one
Oh
that I
yeah,
had on tour.
your 125.
Yeah, I loved that thing. I like the Lumineers Cleopatra came out when my wife and I got married and we're on our honeymoon. And so like there's just like something about that. Like I think he plays a guild, but very similar to a
Yeah.
ES 125. And there's just something about that kind of like living in the acoustic electric middle ground that's really cool. I'm not like playing jazz or anything on it.
Yeah.
I'm using it on things that maybe wasn't intended for, but
Yeah, that's where I'm not the style of player that an archtop is typically made for. But certain ones really have give me the fizz, you know.
they're cool.
Okay, so Evan was saying he being
Bill.
right, Bill, yes, Bill Collings, built 24 for George in the late 80s. I don't know anything about them or what they were. The only thing I know about those, and this is all just like what George has mentioned several times when I've been around him over the last couple of years, was that he had a line of guitars built for him and maybe by Collings, but he got sued by somebody. And then that kind of bankrupted the guitar business, Gruen Guitars. And it was like the Nashville Guitar Company in the 80s. Then there was some connection with Gibson. This is all like, I'm kind of keeping up and I don't want to misrepresent what happened. Most recently, Gallagher Guitars and Ben Paget have been building guitars in conjunction. So the brand new ones are coming out from Gallagher and they seem exciting and cool. And, you know, Ben has told me along the way, you know, about there are certain tweaks and kind of exciting things that they're trying to do that no one's ever done before. They've also brought in, what's the guy's name? But he was like the Martin rep in Nashville. So he's the guy that really like got a lot of shops to carry Martin and artists to play Martins. So yeah. So I don't know. Seems exciting. It's always interesting to me when like a guitar retailer goes into manufacturing because you have these like three parts. You have manufacturers, dealers, and then consumers. And it seems like you can be two of the three. But when you become like being the house and the retailer, it's a problem, I think.
It's interesting.
Then you lose some objectivity. Anyway, all right. Last question that we'll take. All right. What about proper acoustic archtops like an L5, Super 400, a D'Angelico? Yeah, they're not my thing.
I have no take.
Yeah. I've played. So when I was with George and Gallagher Guitars a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, George pulled out what he said is the best looking finish of any guitar he's ever owned. And it's a 1927 L5. And it's like beautiful bird's eye maple. And it's a fade from a dark, like rich red into a yellow in the center. They're cool. They just, I mean, if music is a language, it's a dialect that I just have no vocabulary in. So that's where I'm like, I bring my own style into it, but yeah. Anyway, Jeremy, Philly Guitar Show is November 4th and 5th. Those are fun. I've been to the Philly Guitar Show twice. But all right. Any last questions, comments, or slanderous remarks for Mr. Samuel? Sam, how can people find you on the internet?
They can find our band at Colonel and the Husk on Instagram and Facebook and Spotify and wherever you stream music. My Instagram for guitar related wares is Slinging Strings. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's great.
I sell most stuff on Facebook Marketplace under my name.
There you go. Yeah. When stuff kind of blew up for me, I split stuff off. So occasionally people will find my personal Facebook and personal Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I, unfortunately with those, I just like, there's a hard just separation of church and state. Okay. Here's a question from Terry. Last question, I promise. What do you think about the current run of hog-topped acoustics? Terry is a huge mahogany fan, especially 12 frets.
Okay. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. The Martin 0015 SM is really cool. I've seen Yeah, I guess the current run, like I saw Atkin is doing like a Dust Bowl series with a lot of solid mahogany guitars. I haven't played one yet. I was actually at Chicago Music Exchange, and they're a big dealer for them, and could have played one and just didn't. I mean, it's a treasure trove in there. You got to choose wisely.
I've never been there.
Yeah, dude. Hey, up in Chicago, come see us. And
yeah,
see me.
When are you? You're in Roanoke now. When are you headed to Chicago?
We are talking about sometime after Easter.
Okay. Wow, that's coming up.
Yeah, big transition.
Yeah,
we're gonna have another kid, and then we're gonna think more about moving.
Yeah, then you're gonna move to Chicago. That's where most people with young kids move. Cool, man. Well, this means so much. I'm glad we're friends, and I'm very thankful that you did this today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Cool. All right. All right. You hang on. We'll talk after this. And then everybody else, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. I had an announcement that I'll make on Instagram. I was going to make it here, but I forgot. Ran out of time. So thanks, everybody. See you later.